Props.
So listen, fight week, we've just done the major press conference and Chantelle's looking in fine form, mate.
Yeah, she's well, all the hard work's done. Mentally, she's in a really good place, which for me has always been one of the biggest aspects for any athlete. You know, if your mind's in the right place and your body's in good condition, then you're ready to perform in whatever you're doing. She's really ready.
Do you think, obviously, we're in Dublin, it's Katie's homecoming, and there's a lot of attention on Katie. Do you think that's playing into Chantelle's hands a little bit, that maybe some of the pressure is off of her?
I don't know whether it plays into Chantelle's hands. I think it is a lot of pressure on Katie, coupled with the fact that I believe she's in the toughest fight of her career. But Chantelle's mindset's always been about herself. She doesn't focus on her opponents and stuff. She focuses on what she wants to achieve and what she wants to do, and this for her is like a pivotal moment in her career in terms of she's been a world champion for a few years now. She always wanted to become undisputed, which she's achieved that now. So what comes after that is like sort of creating that legacy for yourself, and Katie's done that. She's been there and done it, and this is her opportunity to sort of the starting point of her to be able to create her own legacy. And I said to her 4 or 5 years ago when she first came to me, after the first few months of working with her, I said, you've got the potential to be the greatest female fighter ever, and I truly believe that still, and I believe that this was fate, this was meant to happen, and this will be the starting point for Chantelle of her starting that legacy.
Eddie's spoken a lot after the press conference to all the press about there is no real loser in this fight. Okay, yes, the belts can go, but both of these ladies are, at the top of their tree. This is the hardest fight each of them have had.
Yeah.
Going forward, there's still massive fights out there, regardless of the result.
Yeah, and when you get to this stage, and both girls have achieved so much as professionals, when you're willing to put it all on the line, obviously somebody's got to lose, unless it's a draw, but I can't see that happening. But somebody's got to lose, and as long as you carry yourself in the right way and you give your all, and you put everything into it, no one's going to be a loser. There's so many different sort of circumstances where people have lost a fight and come out with the reputation sort of enhanced afterwards. So it doesn't really, it's not the be all and end all. Obviously everybody wants to win, but as long as you go in there and do your very best and carry yourself properly afterwards, then it's always going to be you're always going to come out on top.
I mean, Dublin's absolutely buzzing. The place is just absolutely rammed. Tomorrow's weigh-ins had to move because of the amount of people that want to come. It's a fantastic occasion and history being made, mate. It's great to be a part of it, isn't it?
It is, and it's good to be part of the first big fight back in Dublin for so many years, and for me, it's probably the biggest. Two reigning undisputed champions fighting each other. Chantelle's fighting a reigning undisputed champion for the second fight on a trot. That's never been done in history. So and I understand and I get it. People talking about Katie sort of being a trailblazer, and she has made this path for other female fighters to walk down. There's no denying that, and everybody should be eternally grateful to her. But Chantelle's also taking her own big chances and big risks. Every big sort of fight or opportunity she's ever been offered, she's took. And McGaskill was a bit of a sort of gamble, really. Coming off the back of not getting the fight which she wanted in terms of the final against Calabrese. McGaskill being an undisputed welterweight champion. Chantelle asked the question: can all the belts not be on the line? If everybody makes 140, then you're under 147. Can we not have all the belts on the line? Because that way, I can be an undisputed 2-weight champion, and McGaskill just wasn't up for doing it, putting us on the line. So it was all the risk for Chantelle. The only positive for it was that they ended up putting the belt on the line to make it undisputed. So yeah, she's always been willing to put it all on the line, Shan, and no more so than this. You know, Katie Taylor calls her out for the undisputed. There was no real questions asked in terms of, you know, we had a conversation about it, and she said, what do you think I should say? You know, what do you think I should ask for? And I said, not that much. I said, don't ask for anything really, as long as you're happy with the money. The terms can all be worked out, because I believe you'll beat her, and then afterwards you'll be in a really powerful position. So really, the terms of the contract are not that important, because you'll be in a stronger position. But I said, if you want to make the fight, then don't put that many obstacles in the way, because too many people price themselves out or want too many demands. And you know, she was good to her word, and 2 days later the fight was made.
I mean, that's the biggest fight in women's history, made over, 24 hours. It's phenomenal.
48 hours, if that. From the point of Katie calling her out, 48 hours later the contract was wrote up and drawn up and signed.
Are you watching Tyson Fury, is all I can say to that, because the men's game just seems to be going downhill at the moment, with too many demands and too much of this and too much of that. It's so good to see that the girls are just basically saying, we're the best, we're going to fight each other, we don't care about the rest of it.
See, listen, there's so many different aspects to it, and I think one of the problems we have in the men's side of it is that there's a, you know, especially when there's depth of quality in the divisions, there's a lot of choices. You know, there's not as many choices in the women's game at the moment, because there's not the same length of history, so the depth of quality isn't there. There seems to be a big gap between the world level fighters, world class fighters, and the sort of next level down. But that'll come because of people like Katie and Chantel. My amateur gym is full of girls.
That was my next question. So yeah, you know, you're innovating to change that, aren't you?
We're all trying our best, and I loved it on the documentary when Katie was talking about inspiring the next generation. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to evolve the sport to make sure that the gyms are full of girls and boys. You know, some of the girls who come to my gym when it first opened was a bit embarrassed about joining in with the lads, which is understandable. So we didn't sort of say, well, listen, you take it or leave it. We created a girls only class, because for years and years and years it was like a men's only class. So why not create a girls only class? And we did that. We're doing it on a Wednesday, and some of the girls who go to that are also in the carded class as well. But we've got a separate girls amateur boxing class. But that shows you how much the sport's come on.
It was there. We were in there a few weeks ago when you had your open day there, and there was a young girl, I think from Cheshire. She cheekily said, "You're going to be my coach when I turn pro." I mean, that kind of must give you quite a lot of pride that you're creating that atmosphere for people to feel comfortable like that.
Definitely, and you know, fighters like Chantel and Katie are those girls' inspirations, and you know, like in 10, 15 years' time, when Kyra comes through and she's undisputed world champion, and I'd probably be in the corner, or I hope to be in the corner, because she's already called me out, so don't you let me down now.
And you got a name right this time.
Yeah, yeah. So I would love that situation to unfold, because then I'd love to turn around and look back and go, there we go, we created that. Do you know what I mean? We planted the seed with him. We achieved stuff then, and then because of what we did then and the foundations we laid further down the line, this is what you can do.
It's really, really nice to hear and inspirational, mate. And you know, people like myself, I've been a boxer a long time, and there aren't many people doing this. You know, people like yourself have been there. You know what it's like, but they don't sort of put their money where their mouth is, because it's not a cheap thing to do this, and it's a fair testament for you to do it, mate.
It's not a cheap thing to do, but I've always, like, it's money well invested for me, because you know, and we've had a help of other people as well. Charlotte, Maverick Stars, the charity there it's been phenomenal. It really wouldn't have been possible to do without other people's help as well. But we have invested into it, and the fact of the matter is, if people don't do that, people who get into a situation where they've achieved something and people are looking up to them, I just feel like you've got a moral obligation. You can't change everyone across the whole country, whatever, but everyone can make a difference in their own local community. Mine's Walkden in Salford, and that's the only area I can really make an impact and a difference. So if I'm not willing to do it, then the people in that area are never going to be any better off than they were before that. And I appreciate and understand the impact. My amateur boxing club opened, Dave Langorn opened my gym when I was 13, and I went there the first day it opened, and then 7 years later I turned pro, and then a year and a half after that it closed down because they put the rates up too much. Now I understand the importance of Dave Langorn being good enough out of the kindness of his heart to open an amateur boxing club to try and help the kids to get them off the street.
Yeah.
Because if he'd not have opened that gym, I wouldn't be sat here doing this interview with you.
No.
So I can't stress how important it is for other people in the situations what I've been in. So Chantelle, for instance, loves my amateur boxing club and what we've done. She loves what Nigel's done in Moss Side and repping Moss Side.
Yeah.
And she now wants to do that in Northampton. So it's that knock-on effect, it's that chain effect, and if more people start doing it, you'll see the whole country on a whole will be a better place than in 10-15 years time.
Well said, well said. Now listen, we'll let you go because now you're going to go and get a cup of tea.
Strong coffee
big
now.
crunch coffee. But
Been
just
a long
one
day.
very quick word. Jack Hatchell back out next weekend, is it?
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to seeing him finally back in the ring?
Of course, it's been a long time coming, and I'm just glad now. He's got a bit of stability. Matchroom has signed him up. They've got a plan for him, so he can get momentum now because he's boxed Josh Taylor in 3 years. So it's yes, like I say, it's been a long time coming, and I'm just glad that he's got that bit of structure now and a plan ahead of him because he's worked so hard. He's the most dedicated fighter I've ever come across.
Have you told him to go in there and take some rounds, or is he going to put a performance up, mate?
Not at all. No, Jack's one of them fighters. To be fair, he's as much as we're there to aid him. I think a lot of coaches sort of they're very, very important in what they do. Jack Catterall's one of these fighters. He's that advanced. I'm there to aid him. So I don't coach him as such. He's such a real advanced fighter. He's educated himself so well over the years. He's been away sparring so many good fighters, and I'm there to sort of help him and aid him more than anything. But I know for a fact, without a shadow of a doubt, within the next 12 months he'll be a world champion.
Well, we're so pleased that he's back out and he's boxing. We wish Chantelle all the best in Dublin.
Akib Fiaz is on the same bill as well, don't you?
Is he?
Yeah.
Tell me about Akib.
Yeah, Akib's obviously up and coming prospects. Yeah. 11-0 now, I think, and first time back in Manchester since just before lockdown.
Yeah.
So he'll be doing big tickets at the MAN Arena. Yeah, the Manchester Arena is called now.
He'll be bouncing around that arena as well, won't he?
Absolutely, mate, absolutely. So he's been really nice because Chantelle, Jack and Akib have all been able to sort of come through camp together and train alongside each other, so it's been nice.
I bet that's been a fun camp.
Yeah, it has. I mean, Akib was doing Ramadan, so we got away to Tenerife halfway through, and
I saw that.
Yeah, we had a week in the sun. Unfortunately, Akib was doing Ramadan at the time, so he couldn't do it. But that was really nice little break, and but yeah, they've all been in camp together, so they brought each other along.
Things are looking bright, mate, for your people, and we wish them all well. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you on Saturday night, mate.
Cheers, pal. Can't wait.